Hey y'all, here I am with another little video, and as you can see here by the little eBay tape, I've got a nice little nostalgic dolly haul today. If you couldn't already tell from the video or the post that I already made about this, like yesterday, then y'all would already know that these are G3 My Little Ponies. I'm really happy to get them because I saw this lot that was like $34.99 free shipping, and then I put it in my watch list, and sure enough, the seller had sent me an offer for like $30, and I thought the $30 for 6 ponies that are in like really great condition, some that I've been wanting for a while, was like a really great deal. So yeah, y'all, here we have the packaging over here, this giant ass box. I've already pre-opened it for you and like taken off the shipping label and whatnot because, well, y'all know. Like obviously nobody should be having their like shipping stuff like out online and whatnot, but like yeah, opening this up. And here we have these little Technicolor baddies. I'm so excited. Y'all have no idea how long I've been wanting this little pony over here. I just love things with like stars and moons on them and whatnot. But as you can see, here we have this gorgeous Divalicious bag of the little ponies. And in the next clip, they're just going to be out of their little plastic and on full display. Here we have my little ponies out of their box, and I'm incredibly excited to have them. As you can see, they are all definitely in some state of like, I don't know, they're just in a state, yo, and I need to go ahead and like definitely restore them and boil wash this hair and, you know, go ahead and try to like beautify them and give them a makeover and whatnot, because honestly, like, I know like they look like they're completely trashed and fried and crunchy as fuck, but I can literally see the potential, and I know that these really are just gonna need a nice little wash and like, you know, boil wash and whatnot. But I'm just gonna start off with Miss Diva over here. Now I've already forgotten most of their names, and I can't remember all of them at the moment because, like I've already said before in a previous pony video, these names literally just sound like weed strands to me, and like different types of like vape flavors. So like, I'm sorry if I can't remember Miss like Mr. Cherry Ice Capri Sun Star Song like OG. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but like, yeah. Here we have this blue little thing over here. Love this diva and her icy white hair. And then we have a Pinkie Pie over here. Now, I literally got the lot for this Pinkie Pie and this little blue pony over here. I've always wanted a Pinkie Pie from the, you know, G3 My Little Pony era. And I specifically wanted one from the first, like, couple years of production simply because, you know what I mean? Like, they had this really pearlescent sheen and they look just, like, very, like, cute. And obviously she's got some, like, surface stains, but I'm gonna have a lot of fun cleaning that up and just going ahead and beautifying Miss Girl. She also comes with this neat little pony charm, and I'm just gonna keep it on her because, I don't know, it just looks like she's wearing a big fat gangsta necklace, you know what I mean? Like, she's got her big ass chain on. And then next diva over here, I think this is Star Song if I'm not mistaken. We have that very cute little firework cutie mark. She's not as bad, like her hair definitely looks like it really just only needs like a brush of some sort. But here we have that diva. And then hiding amongst all of the adults over here, we've got this tiny little baby pony with this kind of little like star swirl cutie mark, and I really do love the color scheme of this. Y'all know I'm a pink girly, and I don't have any of the baby ponies yet, so this is really cute to have, honestly. I do love the baby ponies, I wish I had more of them. I think this diva is called Meadowbrook, and I saw that she had some sort of like surface like pink stain or whatever, but it seemed to just be like acrylic paint because I went ahead and scratched it up with my nail before filming, and it basically came off already and only left like barely a small stain. But here we have Miss Meadowbrook. I really love the colors of her too. They're like very striking, and I don't know, just the sheen of the like early My Little Pony dolls of like their plastic, it's just so nostalgic to me. These are so cute. We got that little cutie mark right there. And like I can see how some of these have like very tiny surface stains and like spots, but like I really don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like these dolls were like primarily targeted towards toddlers back in the day anyway, so it honestly makes so much sense seeing a bunch of these stains on them. And here we have another little pony with her little gangsta chain on. Got that little pony. with this like gummy, like glittery, like plastic. And then we've just got these little flower cutie marks with this pink hair. The pink hair is honestly reminding me a little bit of, I think it is Strawberry Swirl right there. Very similar colors, only they have different like eyes and whatnot, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm really excited to have gotten this little lot and be able to like transform them for y'all, because y'all know how much I love G3 My Little Pony, and y'all know how much I've been wanting to get some more in my collection. So yeah, in the next part we're just gonna be giving them the little spa treatment. Here I am about to beautify these Technicolor baddies. I've got my little Palmolive dish soap, I've got my brush, and I've also got my little toothbrush, and now we're gonna go ahead and just disinfect these really quickly with dish soap. Now I am gonna go ahead and scrub at these very thoroughly, because they did have a lot of like surface stains that seemed to be like acrylic paint or like nail polish or whatever the hell, but you know, these were also like toddler toys from the early 2000s, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure I clean these up extra well. Now, I don't know about y'all, but G3 My Little Pony is my favorite generation of the brand. I really just like love how nostalgic they make me feel, and I love how like, you know, even people who like didn't grow up with it, like playing with it, like me, you know, like I still remember like them being around and like seeing some of them in stores and whatnot, and like even gifting like, you know, classmates some for like, you know, parties and whatnot and birthdays back in the day, you know what I mean? And yeah, I just think they're really fun to look at, and they're really, really cute, and they're very sweet. And I just have like a whole shit ton of them on my wish list, honestly. But I'm really happy that I was able to get this lot, because even though they were kind of like rank, I wanted to just go ahead and like fix them up, because that's just my favorite thing to do. So yeah. I will say that for a lot of these ponies being like 20 plus years old or like 15 years old, that they have held up very, very well. And like, you know, the hair did feel really dry, and it did feel really straw-like when it was like, you know what I mean? Like when I hadn't put any product in it and before I got it wet, but after I got some water on it and disinfected it, like it started to get its shape back and start to feel just a little bit more like, you know, softer, you know what I mean? And I am just glad that My Little Ponies back in the day didn't really have such terrible quality hair anyways. Now, these dolls weren't in terrible condition by any means, so I'm really happy that I was able to make them look just like a little bit more like they would have like new in box, you know what I mean? I just really love going ahead and beautifying them and restoring them, just because I know that they're supposed to look a lot more put together and, yet, a lot more sleek and whatnot, and I just can't wait to boil wash these and whatnot. As you can see, I'm currently just finger combing the little mane and tail just so that my job is easier later when I have to go ahead and detangle them with conditioner and a brush. And this doll's hair isn't like in terrible condition at all. None of them are, not even the ones that looked like really fried with like all of the like, crunchy looking tinsel. I'm able to just like breeze through it in the end, but like, yeah, I really love how these are turning out so far. I'm honestly really not sure what the hair fiber is for these dolls. Some of them feel like a very high grade nylon, some of them feel like a low grade, and like I'm sure that there are some that like might have even used polypropylene, honestly, but I've never like seen My Little Pony use Saran or Kanekalon before, so it could be either of those hair types that I literally just mentioned. Now, I do realize that Miss Pinkie Pie over here has like a tiny little like chip on her like cutie mark of like paint missing, but I honestly don't mind too much. I know that they made like a lot of like different variations of Pinkie Pie over the like G3 like run or whatever, so that just is gonna incentivize me to get like another Pinkie Pie with like I guess a more special like paint finish or something, or like a different paint like finish variant. But like, yeah, I'm still overall happy with the one that I received because I've literally wanted a G3 Pinkie Pie since childhood, so it's just very nice that I get to own her now and be a diva with her. Now, I feel like Pinkie Pie's hair and like Starbeam's like behind her was like the crunchiest of them all in the lot and whatnot. I think it's just because of the tinsel that was in their hair, but I really hope that I can like kind of like slay it down and kind of just like boil wash it down and that it doesn't like do anything terrible to it. If not, I'm just gonna go ahead and hand rip all of that tinsel out. Because me personally, I don't give a fuck about the tinsel if it's not gonna look right in the hair. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm currently just like breezing through these divas right now. I really also just love how imaginative and like whimsical and playful all of these like little pony designs are, especially for G3. I feel like that's a no-brainer for like a children's doll line, you know what I mean? Especially if it was going to be for toddlers and whatnot, but I don't know, I feel like in these very, very hard and trying like times, You know what I mean? Having to cope with like a whole bunch of this like political unrest and all of this bullshit happening. Staring at my little whimsical Technicolor ponies and brushing their hair and just like, trying to keep holding on is like really what's been getting me through, honestly. I really hope that everybody is doing all right and that I can at least provide some sort of escapism through my videos and whatnot. But yeah, currently going ahead and about to scrub these two divas. I think they're the only ones that I had left to like go ahead and officially scrub before I go ahead and condition everybody. Now this diva over here is like a little bit tricky for me because she has a white base, so I'm trying to just go ahead and make sure that she looks like, I guess, as like pristine and like shiny like white as possible, because I do know with like a lot of the ponies like with the white base that they could just be prone to like staining and like getting like a little bit more grimier and like yellowing faster, I guess, than like the other ponies and whatnot. So even if she doesn't come out looking the most like brightest, like I'm still like sure that she'll turn out all right and look pretty on display anyway. I still need to go ahead and figure out why this pony and that Pinkie Pie had those little charms like around their necks and whatnot that look like gangsta chains to me. I don't know if that was like from some specific like special line or if that's what like the used to come with or whatever, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and have a blast trying to identify some of these ponies and like see which lines they're from. Last but certainly not least, we have our blue Technicolor diva, Miss Starbeam, I believe she's called. I confused her with Moondancer for some reason. But in any case, I still really like the way that this pony looks, and I'm still going to be very much so on the lookout and on the hunt for Miss Moondancer. But clearly, Miss Diva over here has much more of like a blue skin tone and like a different cutie mark in general. But like, yeah, she is the last one I scrubbed up and disinfected. She was the one who had the majority of like the acrylic paint, like surface stains, like on the top of her, vinyl. So I just went ahead and like scratched it off with my nail under some hot water. It didn't scratch up the paint and it just took the stain off perfectly. I'm really happy it was just a surface stain because if it were anything more, I wouldn't have been able to like, take the stains off. But like, yeah, I'm glad that these baddies were very, very easy to go ahead and clean up. Now we are finally going to be conditioning these baddies, and I'm going to be starting off with Miss Starbeam, and yeah. Now, conditioning the hair is honestly the funnest part for me. Even the girls who had like the crunchiest, like, and the most kinkiest hair were like just a breeze to like go ahead and brush through, you know what I mean? Everything was like very easy, and I'm glad that it was just like me and this little like metal brush against the world, even if I have to go ahead and get, a different metal brush, you know what I mean? Now that this diva's hair is slayed down, I'm gonna go ahead and put her off to, sit for just a second so that I can go ahead and move on to this baddie over here. I really love that I got a baby pony in this slot. I've never had a baby pony, but they're honestly just so like cute and tiny and adorable, and I will admit I did take this little thing to work with me, before I even like washed it up and restored it. I put it in my little pocket and I just had it with me the whole shift because that's honestly the little bit of whimsy that I needed to take with me so that I didn't fucking die. But yeah. Now, brushing this diva's hair was a little bit tricky because I think like right around one of the like plugs, one of them had accidentally been like rooted like into the other. So like it had been that way for like obviously like a really, really long time. And since it was like a small factory error, I just was trying my best to like pull it out and kind of just like brush, the hair through as normal. But I eventually got the hang of it, and it eventually like, split to like turn into two hair plugs, you know what I mean? Now, at this point, I started going in with very, very, very hot water and burning myself just to go ahead and like really get this pony's hair like nice and slick and like sleek and straight or whatever the hell. I know that I'm eventually gonna have to go ahead and like boil wash them with like actual boiling water, but like until then, I'm just going ahead and doing my little sink boil wash like I've done previously in different, restorations. Now, this diva honestly had the easiest hair to comb out. I think of like literally any doll I've ever restored or like done a little condition like brushing on. The brush went through and I didn't really have to do much, you know what I mean? So that's perfect. And now that Miss Sparkle Works is all done, we're going to be moving on to the diva, the queen herself, Pinkie Pie. I will say that I really do love the shade of her hair. It's like not quite like a white color, but it's like not quite like a deep pink either. It's like the very like most subtle like pale pink white. You know what I mean? I think there's like very tiny streaks of pink in there too, amongst the tinsel. But like yeah, really love how soft her hair like turned out. Moving on to Miss Meadowbrook over here. She has literally got the best color blend, I think. She's got a really nice electric blue kind of like mane with like the same color on her tail with like this like purplish tone. I really dig it, and I think it looks really good with like her purple base, you know what I mean, of her skin tone. Now, I'm really glad I haven't encountered a pony in this lot with like really chopped up fried ass hair, because looking through a lot of those listings on eBay, like let's just say them children put those dolls through some shit, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't want to end up with some of them, let me tell you. Like, even through the pictures, you can see how fucking fried those are, like the hair is. But yeah, I'm really glad that I haven't encountered any of the really like fried ones. Here I am just combing this very hot water through her hair just to make sure that it kind of like just sets it down and like makes it as sleek as possible without me having to use a flat iron right away. Here we've got the Technicolor Divas drying, and I've finally done some research and identified them. So starting off with the one on the far left over here, we've got Miss Sparkleberry Swirl over here. Really love that name. Like I said before, sounds like a vape flavor. moving on. Right over here, we have Miss Meadowbrook. I tried my hardest to get off the extra like purple stains like right on her cutie mark and right by it, but they wouldn't come off and they're not budging, so I'm just gonna leave them like that and pretend they ain't there. But yes, we have Miss Meadowbrook right there. And then behind her, we just have Miss Starbeam, the legend, the diva, the icon. It's kind of giving like frosty, like snow colors and whatnot. I really do love her color scheme. Then right over here, we have Miss Blossomforth. Really love this name, and I really love the way that her hair is like laying right now while drying, and this cutie mark is really pretty, and I honestly spent the most time trying to identify her for some reason. I don't know why. Then obviously we have the baddie Pinkie Pie over here. And last but certainly not least, we've got Miss, what was her name again? Sparkleworks right over here. But yeah, these divas are currently drying, and I will film the next clip when they are fully dried and whatnot. Here we are the afternoon after I've dried these ponies. I had them kind of just sitting here overnight, and of course a bitch like me woke up in the afternoon, but yeah, they're all dry now. They're all cunty, and surprisingly, the sink boil wash like really did its trick. I know it looks like they're still wet and they have like gel in their hair or whatever, but I promise you it's just because they've been literally standing idle in this exact position all night. But yeah, here we have the divas. I'm gonna go ahead and brush their hair out really quickly just so y'all can actually see how it looks. I have a feeling that I'm really gonna have to boil wash Miss Pinkie over here and Miss Starbeam, but we'll see, we'll see. Now here we have all of these baddies completely restored and fully brushed out. And I'm gonna start with Miss Starbeam over here. As you can see, her hair still kind of looks a little bit like fried, mostly just because of the tinsel. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be ripping out some of it later. I honestly might, but for now I'm like really satisfied with the way that she looks and the way that her hair turned out, and you know, she's all squeaky clean anyways, and like her hair is like nice and silky soft, or you know, as soft as it can be with this dry ass tinsel, but love her for real. And then we have Miss Sparkleberry, I think this one is called Sparkleberry Swirl, if I'm not mistaken. Her hair turned out really nice. I don't know why, but it was the most like dried feeling of all of them when I got them and whatnot, but now it's like the most softest. She took really well to like the sink boil wash and whatnot, but here we have her and her little tail, all squeaky clean, completely detangled, and you know, shiny and sleek and new looking. And then we have our diva Meadowbrook in the background. Now, I don't know why, but for some reason, like, she ended up being my favorite pony of the lot, and I just really ended up loving her colors and just like the way that she looks so charming in general. I tried my hardest to get rid of these little like purple spots on her cutie mark, but they are not coming off, so I'm just gonna leave them there for now and figure out how to deal with them later. But it's honestly not that huge of a stain, so I'm happy with that at least. And as you can see, her mane and her tail are absolutely silky soft, and I gave all of them these little like parts to like, I don't know, just give them a little bit more individuality and whatnot. But here we have this diva over here. Sorry if my camera's a little bit laggy right now, I don't know what the fuck is going on. But here we have Miss Sparkleworks right beside her. I feel like she has the least hair like rooted in her of like all of the ponies in this lot, but don't quote me. I think I just ended up with like a really bald one because this must have been somebody's favorite back in the day. But here we have Miss Sparkleworks and her very, very shiny, very sleek and straight pretty hair. I will go ahead and try to like curl these ponies like hair eventually at some point, but for right now they're, you know, straight from the boil wash, straight from being dried, so I can't complain too much, honestly. Here we have that nice sleek tail. And I really love how the boil wash like looks on these G3 ponies because so, like if you do it correctly, it literally looks like it had like you have gel sitting in their hair, you know what I mean? And then we have Miss Pinkie Pie over here with her sort of dented cutie mark, but it's fine because it's not that big of a deal, or a dent rather. But here we have her gorgeous, shiny, flawless mane, and we have her gorgeous tail. She's got a bunch of tinsel in her hair as well, but it's not as dry feeling and as crappy feeling as Starbeam's for some reason. I just had to go ahead and like trim up the ends, of course, and like trim up all of the longer hairs, but for now, these are what the ponies are looking like. I'm really, really impressed and really happy, especially with the way that Miss Pinkie Pie turned out, because I feel like her hair was like really crunchy before, but now it's super smooth and soft. And last but certainly not least, we have Miss Blossomforth over here, being just a shy little diva in the corner. I really love the way that her hair turned out, and I really love the color too. It's very, very soft, very silky, and she honestly looks like she just got her hair pressed at the beauty salon. And here we have her gorgeous little tail over here, as well as that gorgeous beauty mark, or no, not beauty mark, cutie mark, y'all. But yeah, love this diva, and I especially love the little My Little Pony charm that she comes with. Like I said, these two baddies over here got their baddie chains on, and I love them for that. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed that little restoration. I've really been like heavily getting into My Little Pony G3 as of recently, so I hope I can score more finds and whatnot. But yeah, let me know if y'all enjoyed that video, or if y'all are as obsessed with G3 My Little Pony as I am, and I will see you in the next one. Love y'all, stay safe, and I will see y'all. Bye!